I can't believe they didn't pay me. That stupid customer, they didn't write me the check. They owe me money. What the heck is going on with it? Today on Contractor Fight TV, I'm going to talk about a few reasons why you do not deserve to get paid for the work you did. See, it's not just that client being difficult. There's some things that you're probably not doing on a consistent basis that are leading you to have problems collecting your money. Let's go. Today on Contractor Fight TV, I'm going to talk about a problem that I'm seeing over and over and over in the contracting world, and that is guys like you, contractors like you, complaining about people not paying them when the job is completed. They're scratching their heads, wondering, why is this customer being a total jerk and not paying me my money? So there's three quick things that I want to go over here that will help you ensure that you always get paid for the work that you do. The first thing that you have to pay attention to is making sure that you have a clear scope of work. What that means is, what are we doing and what are we not doing? My buddy from Sherwood Painting, Dan Sherwood, sent me over one of his contracts here, and I'm gonna hide the customer info, and so we'll show this on the screen here in a bit. All right, but guys, check this out. He's got a bunch of things itemized out here. And I don't mean broken down by price and things like that, but talks about the exact material that he's going to use on the siding of the home. Talks about the kind of primer that he's going to use and how many coats of each thing and what they're doing for surface prep and how many coats specifically. And then there's a really cool thing in here that talks about things that are not included. Excluded surfaces, all right? And he lists out some things there. You want to make sure that you're going to spell out what will we do, what will we not do, okay? What could change some of these things? Maybe you want to have it here like, hey, if we start prepping the wood and scraping it, or maybe you're opening up a wall in a construction project or whatever it is, what are the things that could go wrong and how will you address those? Those need to be covered in a scope of work. Okay, so for instance, hey, if we're scraping your siding and the wood starts to crumble, we're going to call a timeout. That needs to be in here, okay, so that you can have a conversation with your client and say, hey, it's probably rare, but sometimes we get up high, or we're doing this, or we open up a wall and we find this, we find that, whatever. That's not included in this original scope of work. We'll call a timeout, we'll talk about your options, and then we'll figure out what we really need to do. The other thing that you want to do with a scope of work is you want to get on the same page at a pre-job meeting with the client, with your foreman, get everybody there. One of my business partners, Steve, talks about, this is what he calls his transfer of trust, where, hey, he sold the job and he's got the customer and he's got his crew and they all have a conversation, they all go over the paperwork, they all ask questions, take notes, take pictures and things like that, so there are no confusion. There's no confusion on what the scope of work is. The second thing that you need to give a crap about to make sure that you get paid is, what are the terms of payment in the contract? This is good defense. You don't want any surprises popping up. Back here to my buddy Dan's contract with somebody, you'll see down here it's a $48,000 project that he's doing, and it says payment terms. Payment terms. If it's an interior, okay, he collects 50% at the time of acceptance, okay? And the balance is due immediately upon completion, all right? That is clear payment terms that the customer initials and they sign, all right? You want to make sure that two things happen. Three things. You first have clear payment terms. What's going to happen if it's a month-long job? When am I going to get money? When do I expect to get some draws from you at certain completion points or whatever it might be? So the first thing is you got to make sure that you have clear payment terms. When are we getting paid? When are you paying us? Let's get on the same page with that. So the first thing is making sure that you have clear payment terms. The second thing is you want to honor those terms. Both of you honor those terms, meaning you and the client. Okay? And the third thing is you want to remind them of what those terms are. So here's what this looks like. When it says in your paperwork, we require X amount of a deposit before we show up and start doing work. If you do not have that deposit, if you do not have that check in hand or that credit card swiped, call a timeout, have a conversation with the customer. Says, hey, per our agreement, this is what we need to start the job. Or if you're at, you're supposed to get money at the 2-week part of the job or 50% completion or whatever it might be. You have to make sure that you are committed to honoring that. That's where I see so many guys go wrong. You spend all this time, money, putting together a contract, putting together these payment terms, and then you don't honor them. And let me tell you, when you don't honor it the first time, it gets harder and harder and harder for that client to take you seriously about when it's time to collect money, and they start paying you on their terms, not on the terms that you agreed to. This is also a great time. The beginning of the job is a great time to remind them when the final payment is due. If you're paid on completion like Dan is here, on the last day of the job, you want to have a couple conversations throughout the course of the job saying, hey, Joe customer, I just want to remind you that we are going to go ahead and do the walkthrough on Thursday at 4 o'clock. At that time, we'll go through, make sure everything's good. We'll address any issues. I'll collect the final payment at that time. I'm going to need you there, blah, blah, blah. All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Third thing that's going to help you collect your money is when somebody asks you to add work to the project. This is an area I see guys all the time. They're getting hosed because they're not doing this one simple thing when it comes to making sure that they're protecting their company. Customer comes up and says, hey, can you add this? And you go, sure, no problem. And then when the job is done, you hand them a freaking invoice for $5,000 and they're like, what the hell is this? Guys, this is self-imposed stupidity. You're shooting yourself in the foot because you're not having a clear conversation about what happens when somebody wants to add work. I don't know how many thousands of dollars I've lost through the years in my early days as a contractor because I didn't do what I'm about to tell you right now. My good buddy Neil has this whole thing that when somebody wants a change order, they want to add some scope to the work that's not in the original scope and all that other stuff. He does stop, drop, and roll. That was really stupid. Doesn't matter. Stop, drop, and roll, R-O-L-E. You stop what you're doing. Hey, we want to add some. Stop what you're doing. If you're hammering, if you're painting, you drop what you're doing, and then you get into the role of protector of your company, protector of your bank account, and you grab your change order form and you basically write down what they want and what it's going to cost. And then you hand it to them and they take one of these things, which in the Marine Corps we call an ink stick. All right, and they sign on the thing that they're going to go ahead and agree to paying you for the additional work. Guys, I see it time and time again. So many contractors are hosing themselves because they won't simply stop, drop, and roll and get things in writing. And basically, you don't get things in writing because you're too much of a chicken shit to talk about money with people. All right, so if you want to have a thin wallet, a ticked off spouse at home, bunch of financial stress, discontent, discord, whatever we want to call it, between you and your clients, then keep doing what you're doing and don't get signed change orders. All right, let me wrap this up. When payment is an issue in a contracting business, it usually comes down to the contractor himself doing a couple things better. The first is setting the expectations like we've talked about here, which is clear scope of work, payment terms, and how we're going to handle the change orders and things like that. If you don't set those expectations, you are setting yourself up for problems. The second thing is delivering a great experience. If you're having a problem getting paid at the end, it's a combination of these things. I want to urge you to put your focus on delivering an amazing experience for people. Now, you can do that when you're charging enough money. And that's why we always talk here in the Contractor Fight, for the average guy, if you could get a 50% gross profit or better, then you're going to have a much easier time producing a great experience for people because you're not going to be looking to run to the next job, collect the next deposit, and rob Peter to pay Paul and all that other garbage that so many contractors are known for. When you charge enough money, you can stay there, you can deliver a great experience, you don't mind, rolling out the red carpet and things like that, and now they actually feel good about paying you because of the experience they got. Somewhere here on the screen, I think we'll put a link, or maybe it'll be in the description of this video. If you want to get our 50% gross profit estimating sheet. Just basically click that link, throw your email in there, and we'll fire it out to you. It's totally free, but it'll help you bid your jobs right, okay? Because if you don't bid your job right, then you're gonna have a problem, then none of this other stuff matters, right? So listen, set those expectations, deliver a great experience, honor the time frame, all right? Don't let your projects drag on and create a bunch more problems for people, all right? And I guarantee you, you're gonna see that you're gonna have less of a problem collecting your money. At the end of the day, guys, if you're not doing those things, you're not doing these things that we talked about, you don't frickin' deserve to get paid. It's that simple. I'm out.